Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Oh, we have not got that one yet. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It's fine. Okay. What's that noise? Inshallah. Okay. There you don't doesn't. بسم الله أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم اللهم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا وهالا وفهما في الدنيا يا رب العالمين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Um, Let me just see who we have online. Qasim. Okay. Okay, so before we continue with the next part, any questions from what we've done so far from anyone? And does anyone remember where we finished off the reading in this book? I just need someone to make a note going forward so we know where we stopped and we can continue. Where did we stop?
I think we finished the reading. Assalamu alaikum. We finished the reading on page 30, I think. Oh no, 28,
28.
I think. And then we were asked to look out for homework last time.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's fine. So we will go through that. I think, yeah, maybe from this exercise here, exercise 4, but just going forward, after we've done the lesson, if someone just posts on the group where we finished the reading, just so we remember for next time. So we've done 3 fragments. Idafa was probably the longest one. And we did Idafa, Mudaf, Mudaf ilayh, the very basic one where we bring two isms together. First word, no al, no noon sound, no tanween. And then the second one has to be in the jar case ending. Then we learned how you say it with a pronoun. So, for example, his book, kitabu, hu, you add a pronoun. Then the third section on mudaf mudaf ilayh was to do with, anyone remember? The third section of mudaf mudaf ilayh, the last bit was on
Special mother.
special mudafs, and what was unique about them? Why do we term them special mudafs? What's the difference between the making kitab and tahta? What's the difference between, other than meaning? Why do we say kitab is just a normal ism and tahta is one of the special mudafs? What makes them unique? Why would you call them special? Alaikum salam. Anyone remember? Why is tahta, khalfa, fawqa, wara'a, kullu, all of them special?
Is it because
Okay.
they don't have the of after it when you translate it?
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons. And the other one was that's one of the reasons it's special. And the other reason, when you see these words, almost 99% of the time, you could say they
Oh,
are,
that was mother.
yeah. So kitab, when you see the word kitab, it's not always going to be a mudaf. You could say al-kitabu jadidun, right? The book is new. Whereas these words, when you see them, most likely they will always be a mudaf. So tahta As soon as you see the word tahta, the next word is going to be a mudaf ilayh. You see kullu, most likely the next word is going to be a mudaf ilayh. That was the second reason, and there is potentially a third reason why they are special. What kind of endings do they have? What do they all end with? Fatha, or they have a nasb case ending, because they are all those words, with the exception of the three, or most of them have the a ending, which means it's to do with time and place. So the adverbs. Tahta, below. Fawqa, above. Khalfa, behind. Wara'a, behind. Amama, in front. So they're to do with existing in a time or place. So they're adverbs. So that's why they are also special. So those are the two or three reasons. And then we went on to the fourth fragment. We didn't really go into it much, but does anyone remember what the fourth fragment was? Harf nasb and its ism. So just like we have harf of jar, we have harf of nasb. So the name that the harf is given will tell you the role the harf is playing in the sentence. So harf of jar meant the harf is gonna make what comes after it jar. Harf of nasb is gonna make what comes after it nasb. And if you had a different type of harf, for example, harf of jazm, which we haven't done yet, that's gonna make you, even though you don't know what jazm means, it's gonna make the next word in a state of jazm. Okay? So harf of nasb and harf of jar. So one difference is between the two. One makes it jar, the other one makes it nasb. The other difference is when you say harf of jar, what's the fragment called? Jar majroor. We have the jar and you have majroor. Jar is referring to the harf of jar. Majroor is referring to the word that becomes jar. So for example, I say fil kitabi. You say jar majroor. Fi is the harf of jar. Jar. And al-kitabi is the majroor part. Jar, majroor. Jar, majroor. So unlike harf of jar, let me write this so it's a bit clear. Okay, so you have fil kitabi, you've got your harf of jar, and you've got the word al-kitab, and it's taken a e ending because of the fi. Fi is the harf of jar. Together, we call it jar majroor. Jar is the first bit, majroor is the second bit. Okay. Now, when we have harf nasb, and an example of a harf nasb is inna. Now we use the same word, inna, and we'll use the word kitab. Okay. Innal kitaba. How do we describe this then? We say inna is harf nasb, and we say al-kitaba is ismu inna. Okay? We call it ismu inna. We're gonna do this in a lot more detail, I think, in level 2. But for now, we call it ismu inna. So the word which becomes nasb, we call it ismu, and then whichever harf you used, you call it by that harf. So we have how many harf nasbs? 6. Inna, anna, ka'anna, later, lakinna, la'alla. So instead of saying inna, if I had said annal kitaba, how would you describe al-kitab now? Ismu anna. If I said لعل, you would say اسم الكتابة is اسم لعل. If I said كأن, same thing. If I said later, you would say the same thing. So the word which becomes nasb, you call it ismu and the name of that harf. Okay? We'll go on to the difference in a moment. But what are some of the meanings? Inna is usually used to emphasize a sentence. So sometimes you might see, if you got rid of the hamza on the alif, inna and anna would look exactly the same. So sometimes when you're reading in Arabic, you open a book, you might be unsure, is it inna or is it anna? So how do you know the difference?
Look at the meaning.
If you weren't given the meaning. So for example, if you look at inna Allah ghafurun, right? Imagine that Hamza wasn't there. How do you know whether to read it as inna Allah ghafurun or anna Allah ghafurun? Think about the meaning of inna and anna. One is usually found in the beginning of a sentence. The other one is rare that you find it in the beginning of a sentence. So inna, normally you find it in the beginning. And the word anna, which means that, normally you say, I know that. Something's usually is preceding anna. So usually you don't say something something inna. Inna is usually always, because you're emphasizing the sentence. Inna, usually you find it right in the beginning. It doesn't come in the middle of a sentence. Anna, usually you find it preceded by something. So that's just a quick tip. If you find you're reading something, or is it inna or is it anna? Inna is usually in the beginning of a sentence. Anna is usually in the middle of a sentence. Inna is for emphasis. Anna means that. Okay. Anna
Well,
al-bayta. Yeah.
well, quick question. Grammatically, would it be incorrect to have half of nas next to each other?
Yeah. With this one, there might be a bit of flexibility because of what I'm going to mention in a moment. Because with the harf of jars, the rule is jar majroor. You say fil kitabi. Nothing can come in between fi and al kitab. Okay? Inna insana lafi lafi khusr. Yeah. So normally nothing comes in between a jar majroor. So you say fil kitab, you can't say fi something else and then al kitab. Fil kitab has to come together. But with harf nas and the ism of harf nas, they don't have to be together. So when you read the Quran, wal asri, you say, no, that's not a good example. Uh, no, I'll give you this example. إن إن في ذلك إن في ذلك لآيات. آه. Uh, now you guys break this down. I can find it. إن في ذلك لآيات. لآيات is two words. La, this is not harf of jar, by the way. La here is used for emphasis. What I want you to do is find the fragments that you've learned. One should be very obvious.
The inna, the part from nas.
Ignore inna for now. في ذلك. في ذلك is your jar majroor. Right? ذلك, the reason it's not ذلك is because ذلك is always going to be ذلك. ذلك ذلك ذلك. تلك تلك تلك. هذا هذا هذا. Right? So that's your jar majroor because nothing can come in between the two. What does في ذلك mean? In that. Okay. Now inna, now you need to look for a word which is nasb. Where's that? Is ayatin nasb?
Oh, that's jar.
Is it jar? I know I've given you a bit of a tricky one, but you can do it. What's the ending of ayatin? Atin. Atin. Go to your Muslimun chart. Muslimatun, Muslimatin, Muslimatin. So this could be nasb or it could be jar. Since you're looking for a word which is nasb, it's most likely going to be nasb. But you see, between inna and ayatin, you've got fi, you've got dhalika, you've got la. So that's telling you the harf of nasb and the ism of the harf of nasb do not have to be together. That can be inna, a few of the words, then it can be the word which is affecting. Whereas the three fragments you learned in the beginning, ismul ishara and badal, hadha al-kitab has to be together. Jar majroor has to be together. Mudaf mudaf ilay has to be together. So the first three fragments you learned, the two parts have to be together. The next two fragments that we're learning, this one and the one after, the two words do not need to be together. But it's good to translate them together though. So how would you translate inna fi dhalika la ayatin? I don't know why it's doing.
Indeed, in that are signs.
Indeed, yeah. Inna fi dhalika la ayatin. Indeed, in that there are signs. Or you can translate the words together. Inna la ayat. Verily, there are signs in that. I don't know why it's doing that. Inna fi dhalika la
What does that lam translate to?
La is extra emphasis.
Right.
Yeah. It's called, we'll comment on it later on. It's called the slipping lam. So it's a lam that's attached to this bit just for extra emphasis. That's why you say, Innal insana lafi khusrin. So it's used in a sentence where inna is used, but it's for emphasis. That's becoming a bit annoying. I don't know why that is. Right, 1 minute. Let me just take that away and see if it's that. Okay, does everyone get that? Faisal, did that answer some of your questions or one of your questions?
Yeah, that's fine. It's okay.
Yeah. So within that, there's a bit of flexibility. You saw innal insan, you saw the inna fi dhalika. You had a harf of nasb and a harf of jar side by side in that case. But you don't really have two harf of nasbs together. Inna, anna, and then you wouldn't see that. I'm just trying to figure out what that noise is.
Question.
Yeah.
Are the two parts of the fragments, was it inna and the ayah then? Was that the two parts of the fragments?
Yeah, so you have the harf of not. So this particular fragment, or so this particular not fragment, but with inna and the sisters of inna we call them. There's usually three parts. You have harf of nas, which is inna annaka anna later lakinna la'alla. Then you have ismu inna, and then there's a third part which we're not learning yet. That's not considered part of a fragment. It's called khabru inna and so on. So there's usually three parts to this. Well, the two parts that we're referring to are uh, the inna and the word which becomes nasb. So in that sentence, inna fi dhalika la ayat, inna and ayatin are the two parts.
Okay, so
Okay. Now back to this. So inna, emphasis. Anna has the meaning of that. Ka'anna has the meaning as though. So ka'annahu talibun. It looks as though he is a student. Okay. Later is used to express a wish which is impossible to come true. So laytani saghirun. If only I was young. That's used to express something that's not possible. That's when you use later. Like in the Quran, it says, Ya laytani kuntu turaba. Oh, I wish I was turab, on the day of judgment. That's something that's not possible anymore. Right? That's used to express a wish or a desire that's impossible. Lakin is a very familiar word to Urdu. Lakinna, but, however. Lakinna al-walada maridun. However, or but the boy is sick. La'alla has a few meanings, and the context will tell you whether it has a meaning of hope or fear. Those are the two meanings of la'alla, either used to express hope or fear. Okay, so لعلك بخير. I hope you are well. So لعل has a few meanings, maybe, perhaps. But usually the two meanings are hope and fear. Those are some of the meanings. Mm, mm, mm. Okay, now you see it with the pronouns. Innahu. So what was innahu originally?
Who
It would have been huwa. So you're adding inna before huwa. So inna is going to make it nasb. So you can't use huwa. Why can you not say inna huwa? Because huwa is rafa. And who is nasb wa jar. But here it's going to be nasb. So innahu, innahuma, innahum, innaha, innahuma, innahunna, innaka, innakuma, innakum, innaki, innakuma, innakunna. Where I need you to kind of pay a bit of attention is the ana and the nahnu. So you have two ways of saying it. You could say, so let me see if it does it again. I want to say, indeed. Also, for example, let's ignore inna for now. I want to say, someone doesn't believe me, but I want to say, ana. No, I put the shadda up. I want to say, ana talibun. I am a student. Ana talibun. I want to emphasize that sentence with inna. So I bring inna before ana. So what happens? What do I do? What's inna gonna do?
Is the Hamza gonna drop in between Inna and Ana?
No. So first of all, which word is inna gonna affect?
Is it the noon?
No, which word, not letter.
Talibu.
So when you're emphasizing, so you have You have the part before the is, and you have the part after the is. What's the part before the is called? This is going back.
Mubtada.
Mubtada. Do you remember Mubtada? Hamza? Ringing a bell? No?
The subject.
Yeah. So there's a part before the is. Remember? So you say I, or not only is, but the equivalent of is. I am, for example. You have a part before the is, and you have a part after the is. You say the book is new. Okay, you got the book and new. A part before the is and the part after the is. Inna, anna, ka'anna, later, lakinna, la'alla are affecting the part before the is, not the part after the is. So when I say is, the equivalent of is, if it was plural, they are, I am, we are, he is. Okay. So inna, anna, ka'anna, all those 6 harfs are going to affect the part which is before the is, not after the is. So when I say ana talibun, I am a student, what part is inna going to affect? The ana part. And it's going to make ana into what case ending? What is it going to make it into? Nasb. So you have to turn ana into nasb. How do you turn ana into nasb?
Make it yeah.
Yeah. Ana, huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, all those pronouns are detached pronouns. And we said detached pronouns by default are rafa. So you have to use the attached version. And the attached version of ana is the ya. So you say, now I put those two together. What happens with inna and adding a ya to it? What's the power of the ya as we learned? It pulls down on the dhamma and it makes it have a kasra. So you say in ni. In ni. Okay? That's one way of doing it. In ni. So you have inni. The other way of doing it is so you have inna and you have the ya. If you want to protect the noon, meaning you don't want it to have a kasra on it, you want to keep it as inna, you have to add something called noonul wiqaya. It's basically called the noon of protection. We're going to come across this noon when we do verbs as well. The noon of protection. What does the noon of protection do? It protects this from this. So what is it? You're adding a noon in between. It's called noonul wiqaya, the noon of protection. So instead of this noon taking a kasra, this noon will take the kasra instead. Okay, so it becomes inna ni. So rather than the ya affecting this noon, it's gonna affect this extra noon. So it becomes inni. If that went over your head, or just remember, but Ana version, there's 2 ways of saying it. Inni or innani. Same with, you guys tell me now, how would it be if I had the sentence nahnu? First of all, make this namhu. Nahnu. What would the part after the is be? I want to say we are instead of saying I am a student. Nahnu. No. So what would the part after the is be? Faisal, what would you put as the part after the is? So instead of saying ana talibun, I'm saying nahnu. Would you say نحن طالب?
Taliban.
No.
Do not follow Muslim.
طالبون.
That's one option. نحن طالبون, you can say. The most common is the word طلاب.
طلاب.
طلاب. The reason I asked was some of you might have said نحن طالب. You forgot that the part after the is and the part before the is have to agree in the number and the gender. So if it's plural, you have to make the other part plural. Okay, so now if I put inna before this, what are you gonna say now? What's the nasb version of nahnu?
No.
The na. That's the nasb version. So how do you think we combine the two?
Well, I look on the link.
You just say this. Just put them together. Inna na. That's the obvious way of doing it. The other way of saying it is inna. So it's kind of dropped one of the noons. So inni. So I want you to kind of forget the process. Just memorize it. Inni or inna ni. Inna and innana. So when you read the surahs, Surah Kawthar, what does it begin with? Inna. So what's that? In what's that? Oh, what's coming together there?
إن
Inna and the na. Inna. Indeed, I or indeed we. Surah Qadr. Inna anzalna. Indeed, we. Okay. So you've got, when it comes to the ana and the nahnu versions, you have two options. Inni, innani. The rest is the same. Innahu, innahuma, innahum. There's no difference there. But with the ana and the nahnu versions, you've got two options. Inni, innani. Anni, annani. Inna, innana. Anna, annana. Because you've got two noons coming together. Okay? Same here. كأني كأنني كأنا كأننا لكني لكنني لكننا لكننا. Okay. Again, with practice, just have a look at it, go through it in your own time. I don't need you to memorize this. It's not something you need to memorize. It's something you just need to know how it works. Inna, anna, layta, la'alla, lakinna, ka'anna. What happens when you add a pronoun to that? Okay. You can memorize it if you want. I don't think I memorized it, but you can memorize it. Okay, I'm sure there's probably questions. Anyone has questions regarding this fragment? Now would be the time to ask. Everyone good? No
You know that
issues?
example that you use on when you're writing it out on Word?
Yeah.
Remind us the reason why. Um, so obviously you've done inna na over here at the moment, but could you leave inna as it is, but then put the na? No, actually couldn't. That's fine. I've got my way out of it. That's fine.
Yeah. Innana. You could read it as innana or inna.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just have a look at the ayah. أولئك يدعون إلى النار. Again, there's some words that we haven't covered. Quite a lot of words we haven't covered. But see, see what you see. Let me know what you see. أولئك يدعون إلى النار والله يدعو إلى الجنة والمغفرة بإذنه ويبين آياته للناس لعلهم يتذكرون. Tell me what you see. Let me just highlight it. أولئك. What's أولئك?
So,
Yeah, those. But what type of word is it? اسم الإشارة. And it's the plural of, is it the plural of هذا, هذه, ذلك, تلك? What is the plural of ذلك or تلك? Yeah. So that and those. أولئك. So what's the meaning of أولئك again? Those. Yeah. يدعون just means they call. They call you to إلى النار. What type of fragment is إلى النار?
جار مجرور.
جار مجرور. So the meaning of أولئك يدعون إلى النار is they call you to النار. Yeah. والله يدعو, and Allah calls you إلى الجنة والمغفرة. We're going to come on to the word بإذن in a moment. But look at إلى الجنة and والمغفرة. Both of them have what case ending? Both of them are jar. Yeah. So it makes sense why إلى الجنة is jar because of إلى.
It,
Why is مغفرة also jar?
because of the wow.
Because of the wa. Wa has a habit of carrying on the effect. Okay. So if you see a word has a certain case ending and you can't figure out why it's like that, and if there's a wa before it, that's probably the reason. The wa. So really the sentence is يدعو إلى الجنة وإلى المغفرة. But the ila is not repeated because the wa has been used. So Allah calls to Jannah and forgiveness بإذنه or بإذنه. How many words is بإذنه?
Three.
What are the three words?
First one's the B,
Ba, yeah.
then you got isn't, and then
Idn.
you got he at the end.
Okay, so how many fragments is that?
two,
How many fragments is that? بإذنه. Looks like one word, but it's not one word. We established it's three words. Yeah, which are?
And then isn't he. So B and
So no, what are the three words? B is the word?
or the left I.
So B, إذني, and he. Okay, it's three words. So the first fragment would be بإذني. That's your jar majroor. بإذني. And then the other fragment is إذني he, which is مضاف and مضاف إليه. So the meaning of بإذني, or ignore B, what's the meaning of إذنه? Idhan is, no, what the meaning of idhan? To give someone idhan means to give someone permission. بإذني. By whose permission? His permission. By his permission. وَيُبَيِّنُ آيَاتِهِ لِلنَّاسِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَذَكَّرُونَ. So, what do you see in that part? Anything? Inna, anna.
يبين هي مضاف مضاف إليه.
No, وَيُبَيِّنُ is a verb. Yeah. آيَاتِهِ is what? آيَاتِهِ is what type of fragment? مضاف مضاف إليه. Yeah. And he clarifies or makes clear آيَاتِهِ, his signs. For who? لِلنَّاسِ. What fragment is that? Jar Majrur. He clarifies or makes clear his signs for the people. لَعَلَّهُمْ.
It's also a type of
Mm-mm.
no, it's a mudaf mudaf.
Mm-mm.
حرف
حرف نصب. إنا أنا كأن ليت لكن لعل. And what was the meaning of لعل?
Maybe perhaps.
Maybe, perhaps, hope, fear. So based on the context, لعل will mean here. What do you think? Yeah. Perhaps they will يتذكرون, be reminded. So here is with the meaning of hope, you could say. Maybe, perhaps they will. Okay, good. Again, we will do more of this, but I need you guys to do the basics first. Okay, inna. We probably have some exercises there. Okay, let's go. I want you to take a few moments, go through the first 10. You should have the vocab somewhere as well. Go through the first 10, and then we'll go through the meaning.
What page is on?
That is on 37. So you've got simple sentences, and then you're adding the harf nasb to those sentences. Just so we have an idea. Number 1 and number 2. Innal kitaba sahlun. So the sentence before inna was al kitabu sahlun. The book is easy. Certainly the book, or no doubt the book is easy. Inna al-kitaba sahlun. And then number two, al-imamu jadidun was the sentence. After introducing ka'anna, it became ka'anna al-imama jadidun, with the meaning as though, yeah, the imam is new. Yeah, as if the imam is new. Again, ka'anna, just like anna, usually you don't find it in the beginning of a sentence. Okay, I'm gonna go through them together. Faisal, if you could do number three, if you read the Arabic and then translate. You want to have a go, Faisal, if you're there, for number three?
Sorry, I was trying to call. لكن المدرسات مريضة.
Yeah. لكن المدرسة مريضة.
But the teacher is sick.
Yeah, but the teacher is sick. لكن المدرسة مريضة. And whereas اسم لكن
المدرسات.
المدرسة. Yeah. Okay. إخلاص. Number four.
لعل المسجد قريب.
Mhm.
I hope the masjid is near.
Yeah. لعل المسجد قريب. I hope the masjid is near, or maybe the masjid is near, or perhaps the masjid is near. If I said the meaning إخلاص لعل المسجد بعيد.
I fear the masjid is far.
Yeah. Depending on who's saying it, how he's saying it, you could have either meaning.
I hope it's far.
Yeah.
It's get hard or what's it? You have to hope that's the
So yeah, context and how he says it, I will tell you. Okay, number five. Who shall I ask? Hasib? Is it Hasib or Hazib? Sorry. Habib. No, I don't know where I got Hasib from. Habib. If you could
Hasib?
do the Hasib also. Let me just have a look
Yeah,
at. No, Habib, right? Oh, Hazib. Yes, yes. I'm sure I saw your name somewhere. Okay, Hazib. If you could do number five for me.
number five. أن الماء بارد.
Yeah. أن الماء بارد.
بارد. Indeed, the water is cold.
Yeah, almost you got it right. Anna is not inna. Inna is used for emphasis. Anna means that. Anna al-ma'a, that the water is cold. Yeah. Or you could say, if you wanted to, you could say Inna al-ma'a baridun. Okay. Hamza, number 6. If you've got up to that part, so
ليت الشيخ الصغير
yeah. So try and say it with the endings. Layta shaykha
شيخ صغير.
saghirun.
I wish the old man was young.
Yeah. Yeah. Layta shaykha saghirun. When you translate later, it just has the meaning of I in the I wish. Or you say, if you don't want to say I wish, if only the old man was young. So you don't have to say I wish, you can say I wish, or you can say if only. Okay. Naima, if you could do number 7.
إن السيارة سريعة.
Sari'atun.
Indeed, the car is fast.
Indeed, the car is fast. Good. And then where's the ismu inna?
That's سيارة.
Sayyarata. Good. So remember the ism of inna, ism of anna, ism of la'alla is the one usually before the is, and it's the one that turns nasb. Okay. Number 8. The Munazir, if you could do number 8.
Number 8, yeah. لكن البيت صغير, which is but the house is صغير, is that young?
Yeah, it's small.
That's small.
Yeah. So صغير, young, if we're talking about a person, صغير or small. لكن البيت صغير, but the house is small. And then that leaves us with number 9 and 10. Habib, if you could try number 9.
Number 9. أن الطعام حلال.
Mm-hmm.
That's the food is halal.
Yeah.
الطعام is اسم
Ismu anna. Yeah. So like I said, anna, usually you don't find it in the beginning of a sentence, but because we're practicing, we're just using it like that. Normally the word adhunnu, I think that the food is halal. So normally you have something else coming before anna. And then the last one, لَعَلَّ الْوَلَدَ ذَكِيٌّ. Perhaps the boy is dhaki means
What?
intelligent. Yeah, smart, intelligent. Okay. Arabic to English is always easy. When it's the English to Arabic is where it can be a bit tricky. So that is what I want you guys to do for homework. So next week, the first thing we will go through is this section, which is English to Arabic. But for now, I just want to complete the rest, which is this bit here. Okay. Number 1. ليت الشعر. What should it be?
ليت الشعر.
ليت الشعر. Anyone know what the meaning of شعر is?
The month. No.
That's شهر with a ha. I always get confused about this one. I think it means hair. ليت الشعر. If only the hair. Only the hair would come back. Later. لعل رسالة. Yeah. تن. لعل رسالة تن. إن المسلمون should be إن المسلمين. So you probably come across that long ayah where إن المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات والقانتين والقانتات. That's why all of those words have a ina ending because of inna, and there's a wa in between each one. لكن الدرس لكن الدرس أن اللغتان should be
أن لغتين
أن اللغتين أن the same again كأن الولدان should be كأن الولدين ولدين. Okay, so now you've got a few ayahs or hadith. You're putting a circle around the harf of nasb and underlining the ism that it's affecting. So you got the first one. لِيَعْلَمُوا أَنَّ وَعْدَ اللَّهِ حَقٌّ وَأَنَّ السَّاعَةَ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهَا. So find the fragments. Find the harf of nasb fragment. And then
أن
we'll go. Yeah, أَنَّ
وعده.
أَنَّ وَعْدَ. That's your harf nasb and the ism of أَنَّ.
There's another one as well. أن ساعة
أَنَّ سَاعَةَ. Okay, so those are the two. What other fragments can you see in that ayah?
فيها. No, فيها.
فيها. This is your jar majroor. Any others that you've learnt?
وعد الله
وعد الله, which is?
مضاف إليه.
Okay, so how would you translate أن وعد الله?
Also وعد. Yeah.
وعد is, anyone know what the meaning of wa'ad is? Promise.
So indeed.
It's not indeed.
Oh
It's
no.
anna. Yeah. So that the promise of Allah is truth, haqq. So that they know, لِيَعْلَمُوا, that the promise of Allah is haqq, وَأَنَّ السَّاعَةَ, and that the sa'a means
Fine.
sa'a, yeah, the hour, أن الساعة, and that the hour, لا ريب فيها, there is no doubt in it. Okay. Slowly we'll start translating this. Okay, next one, number 2.
أن تعبد الله.
This is not anna, it's an, which is something else.
كأنك
كأنك. So what's the meaning of كأنك?
as though
As though, what? As though you. كأنك is أنت ترى, but أنت became ka because of كأنك تراه. Anything else in the ayah? إنه indeed he يراك, he sees you. وما رميت إذ رميت ولكن الله رمى.
لكن الله
لكن الله, and that means however Allah, but Allah. Okay, and then hadith لعلي لا أحج بعد عامي هذا. And then you can tell me what the meaning here is. لعلي, what are the two parts? Yeah, so it's لعل and the ya, and it became لعلي. How would you translate this one? This is the words of the Prophet at the farewell Hajj when he says, I fear. So here's I fear. Not necessarily fear in that sense, but I fear that I will not be able to do Hajj after this year. So you could say fear in that sense. Or perhaps I will not. Okay, and then last one. Ya laytani kuntu turaba. Yeah, later, ni. Later, ni. I wish I. Okay. I wish I. Okay. Inshallah, I think we're gonna stop here. We'll stop here. So for next week, we will do the English to Arabic, and then we will do some of the reading from the Medina book as well. And from the Medina book, if you guys if you didn't manage to do it for this week, you need to be going through from page 28. From this exercise here, page 28. And so you got it's page 29, page 30, 31, 32. So those 4 pages we will complete next week as well. And then
From 22.
so this one is from end of page 28. Basically this exercise here. Exercise 4, page 28, all the way to page 32. So have a read of that, and we will complete that next. So if someone also writes that down in the Arabic book, not Arabic book, Arabic group, page 28, exercise 4, all the way to page 32. That will be the reading exercise for next week. And then the other homework was the English to Arabic of Harf Nasb. So we will do that next week. And then that will complete 4 fragments, and then we have the final fragment to do. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Inshallah, we'll stop here. If there's any questions from anyone, I can go through them. We have a few moments. If not, then inshallah we'll continue next week. Okay. Inshallah, we'll stop here. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.